Hey, what's up? Yeah, nice to see you. Great. Welcome back to TeehanTube. Today we'll be going over the legislative branch. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope everyone's safe, everyone's happy, and everyone's okay. You know, it's now May, which is interesting because it feels the same as April and March, but I hope the weather starts getting a little warmer. We go outside, still socially distanced. You'll see me on my bicycle. If you see me on my bicycle, say what's up. I'll wave back. I might ring my little ding ding bell, and it'll be nice to see you all. Let's talk about the legislative branch. So, the legislative branch is one of the branches of the federal government. It is not part of the state government, although the state government does have a legislature. I know this government gets so confusing, doesn't it? They all have different names and different words, and really, to understand the government, you really have to understand the vocabulary of the government. So that's what I'm trying to do here, and and then we can hopefully apply that to trying to figure out how some of these bills work and how some of these bills pass, and how our government works. So that'll be good. You'll learn something, which is the purpose of this. So the inquiry question: how does the legislative branch create laws for the United States? And the word is bicameral, two houses, which that's not a word that people use too often, bicameral or unicameral, but it means two houses, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So let's do a quick review here. A little review. So the federal government is located in Washington, D.C. It can be called the central and national government too sometimes. And I've been hearing a lot on the news, they call them now the feds. We're waiting for the feds to do this, the feds. So now you have four different names for the same thing. And within the federal government, you have the three branches, which is the executive branch, which we also call the president. We call them the White House. So that's like another three names for that. You have the legislative branch, which we call the Congress. We call the legislature. We call them the House of Representatives. We call them representatives, congressmen, Senate, senators, all names, all words to describe one branch. So, yes, it's confusing. It took me a while to figure it all out. And then you have the judicial, which we sometimes call the judiciary or the Supreme Court. And those are the people who interpret the Constitution. So today we'll be speaking about the legislative branch, which meet in this building right here, which a lot of you think is the White House. That is not the White House. That is the U.S. Capitol building. If you have ever been there, it is quite an impressive building. It's very nice. I went there. I've only been there once. It was a great trip. I got to get back there. The legislative branch, as I said, is often referred to as the Congress. Okay, and it is a bicameral legislature, meaning a two-house Congress. The two houses are called the House of Representatives and the Senate. So, in this building here is where the House of Representatives meet in the Capitol. And this building here is where the Senate meets in the Capitol. And the reason we have two houses is because of something that happened in the Constitution called the Great Compromise, where I'll explain it quickly. So basically, there was this argument between states, and some states, the smaller states thought that each state should have equal representation in the Congress. And the bigger states, meaning the states with a larger population, were like, well, that's not fair because Wyoming has more cows than people, and New York has like, I don't know, 50 million people in it. Wyoming has 100,000. Why should Wyoming and New York have the same amount of representation in the Congress? It doesn't seem fair at all. So the Great Compromise was basically this. The House of Representatives would take state populations into account when deciding how many representatives represented that state. I know that's a lot of representatives. But so a state like New York has more representatives than a state like Wyoming. I'm not sure the exact number. I think it's up in like New York. I don't want to guess, but New York is up in the 40, 50 representatives, okay? And Wyoming is probably below 10 representatives. Now, the smaller states were saying, well, that's nice that you have a large population, but we're states, we should all be equal. And how are we going to, figure that out? So the Senate, this building here, is where you have every state, no matter the population, has the same amount of representation, the same amount of senators. Wyoming, 2 senators. New York, 2 senators. Hawaii, 2 senators. California, 2 senators. Alaska, 2 senators. And I could do that 45 more times, but it'll always be 2 senators, so you can have equal representation. Like I said, the House of Representatives has a different number based on population. So that is what a bicameral legislature is. So 2 houses of Congress. Okay. The main power of the legislative branch is creating laws. So that's pretty big power. Okay. Every law starts as a bill. And I said some of you who know where this is going, at least your parents do. This is Bill. Okay. This is from Schoolhouse Rocks. And I was born in 1982. And Bill was very famous when I was growing up, when I was your age. And everyone would torture me. And they'd see me and say, I'm just a Bill. Yes, I'm only a Bill. Every time they'd see me. So I do have a little PTSD when watching this video, but I will do it for you now. Okay? But it is a good video. I dig it. What is this, Explorer? I should open a Google. Okay, let's watch it together and relive my childhood horrors and nightmares.
Good to see you.
Yeah, hey, what's with the polka dots?
What do you mean? Polka dots are out. It's polka squares now.
Oh, yeah.
Get that.
As your body grows bigger,
your mind must flower.
It's great to learn,
'cause knowledge is power.
It's Schoolhouse Rocky, the chip off the block of your favorite Schoolhouse Rock.
I'm just a Bill.
Yes, I'm just a Bill. There's the Capitol building.
You sure gotta climb a lot of steps to get to this Capitol building here in Washington. Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
I'm just a Bill, yes, I'm only a Bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting in committee, but I know I'll be a law someday. At least I hope and pray that I will, but today I am still just a Bill.
Gee, Bill, you certainly have a lot of patience and courage.
Well, I got this far. When I started, I wasn't even a bill. I was just an idea. Some folks back home decided they wanted a law passed, so they called their local congressman, and he said, "You're right, there ought to be a law." Then he sat down and wrote me out and introduced me to Congress, and I became a bill. And I'll remain a bill until they decide to make me a law. I'm just a bill, yes, I'm only a bill, and I got as far as Capitol Hill. Well, now I'm stuck in committee, and I'll sit here and wait while a few key congressmen discuss and debate whether they should let me be a law. I hope and pray that they will, but today I am still just a bill.
Listen to those congressmen arguing. Is all that discussion and debate about you?
Yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. Most bills never even get this far. I hope they decide to report on me favorably, otherwise I may die.
Die?
Yeah, die in committee. Oh, but it looks like I'm going to live. Now I go to the House of Representatives and they vote on me.
If they vote yes, what happens?
Then I go to the Senate and the whole thing starts all over again.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And if they vote for me on Capitol Hill, well, then I'm off to the White House where I'll wait in a line with a lot of other bills for the president to sign. And if he signs me, then I'll be a law. How I hope and pray that he will. But today I am still just a bill.
You mean even if the whole Congress says you should be a law, the president can still say no?
Yes, that's called a veto. If the president vetoes me, I have to go back to Congress and they vote on me again, and by that time you're so
By that time, it's very unlikely that you become a law. It's not easy to become a law, is it?
No, but how I hope and pray that I will. But today I am still just a bill.
He signed your bill. Now you're a law.
Oh, yes.
Here you go, Billy boy. That video has been used to teach students how a bill becomes a law for almost 30 years. And I don't see any stop to it. I'm going to keep doing it. Just going to keep doing it. I'm not going to stop. Because it does outline how a bill becomes a law pretty well. It's like pretty straightforward, geared towards kids, and I like it. So let's, the first question on the answer sheet is, what are the steps for a bill becoming a law? So I filled out the first one for you. A citizen has some sort of idea. In this case, all school buses must stop at a railroad tracks. That's a law right now. You may see it on the back of school buses. It says, this vehicle stops at all railroad crossings, meaning even if the gates are down, they still, or no, gate, hopefully they stop if the gates are down, but if the gates are up, they still stop, okay? The bill gets sent to the Capitol building in the Capitol, which is Washington, D.C. It's up to the committee to see what happens, and it goes to the House of Representatives, then to the Senate, and they both vote on it. Then the president has to sign it, and if he doesn't, then it won't happen. And that is very straightforward, but also correct. So, Alt, my man, extra credit. There you go, buddy. Okay. So yeah, that's, I mean, pretty straightforward. Everything's correct. See, capital with an A is if you are capitalizing a letter. Capital with an O is when we're talking about like the capital of a state. Okay, but simple mistake. Explain what a veto is. So Bill, he does mention a veto. He stamps it on the wall. If everybody votes yes, everybody meaning the Congress votes yes, the president could still say no. Tremendous amount of power. A lot of people think that the veto power is too much power for the president. So the Congress does have a fail-safe, a check, a balance that says that Congress can override a veto by passing the act by a 2/3 vote, supermajority in both the House and the Senate. So that's how Congress can get around the veto. Now, historically, when a president vetoes a bill, it is tough for the Congress then to come back into session and then get the 2/3 majority vote, unless they really want to stick it to the president. Very good. Let's see who this is. Extra credit. All right, my man Jaron. Good job, buddy. 707. All right, moving on. So currently, this is what, if you look at how the House of Representatives and the Senate are split up, this is the current splits, okay? The blue dots, hopefully you remember from our lessons while we were in an actual classroom, are the Democrats. So each blue dot represents a Democratic seat, and the red dots represent a Republican seat. So you could see here that the House of Representatives is narrowly controlled by the Democrats, narrowly, okay? And this can go back and forth. This goes back and forth, back and forth. In fact, it really just switched. Where the Senate now, if you look, by three seats is Republican. So you have a Republican majority, which is difficult because if you need a supermajority vote in the Senate, if you need a 2/3 vote, that means that the red dots, Republicans, would have to convince these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Democrats, 8 blue dots, to vote for something for it to become a law or an override. Okay, so there's questions about this chart too. Oh, I spoiled it. Sorry. Okay. Which has more seats? We went over. House of Representatives has more seats than the Senate. Because, if you remember what I said, the Senate, each state has equal representation, so there's 100 of them. This can actually change depending on population. All right, math problem. I love math. If every state has equal representation in the Senate, and there are 100 senators, how many senators are there from each state? So I guess the variable, I don't know, I really shouldn't be using math terms. I really shouldn't, is how many states are there? There are 50 states. So you would divide 100 by 50, and you would get two senators from each state. That's 100 divided by 50. I don't need my calculator for that. Who controls the House? Republicans or Democrats? I just went over this. The House is controlled by Democrats. And who controls the Senate? Republicans or Democrats? Republicans. We call this, so when you have one House controlled by Democrats and the other House controlled by Republicans, or vice versa, we call this a split Congress, which we'll talk about a little bit. So these are people you do need to know. So the House of Representatives is controlled by the Democrats. The leader of the House of Representatives is Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi. And you'll see that after these people's names, you have a letter, which is Democrat or Republican. Every once in a while, you'll see I, okay, for independent. Bernie Sanders used to have an I, Vermont, and this is the state that the person comes from, so it's California. And if you were watching the news, which you should be, or your parents watching the news, you probably hear these two names a lot because these are the heads of the Congress. This is the heads of the Senate and the House of Representatives. The head of the Senate is this guy, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Might have two L's, I'm not sure. Republican, Kentucky. Okay, so Democrat, Kentucky. Democrat, Republican. Now, if the House of Representatives switches to red, Republican, then the Speaker of the House switches to Republican too. And same with that. So that's what we call a split Congress. And right now, these people are basically at each other's throats. They hate each other. Yeah, they hate each other quite a bit. And so I want to talk about whether or not, in your opinion, is it good or bad for the United States when we have a split Congress? Explain your answer. So, this person, who we'll find out who it is in a minute, it is bad because you can almost never get any work done. And if both sides disagree, then that wouldn't work out correctly. It would be easier for a non-split Congress. It's much easier because you have almost same ideas and then you can get a vote quicker. And it is easier to agree. So very good. You're referring to the political ideologies that we discussed when, back when we were in 419. Okay. And this is true. If you have the same ideas and Democrats have an idea, Democrats have an idea, Democrats in the House, Democrats in the Senate, then things can get through much easier. I like it. Let's see. Chrissy, 703. Well done. Okay. Okay, good. Let's see. This person says, I believe that having a split Congress is a double-edged sword for the United States. So this person is going to see both sides. On one hand, if one side of the Congress is corrupt, it will have trouble passing laws or overriding a veto. This is because the other side will contradict their votes, which is good for America. Very true. So maybe having a split Congress is good if everyone is voting with their conscience, I guess, and not along party lines. On the other hand, two different sides may not get us anywhere. The two different sides may end up rejecting any bill because it supports the other side's view, which ultimately rids America of a possible law. This is why having a split Congress is a double-edged sword for America. I couldn't agree more. That's a great answer. Yeah, if Congress were trustworthy and voting with conscience and voting for what was best for the United States, then having this is like another check and balance, right? Having them kind of have both sides voting on both. But I don't know if that's the case. Okay, Leo 702. Well done. Finally, personally, I believe it's okay to have a split Congress. If our Congress wasn't split, if everyone had the same political party, people wouldn't be able to be heard. For example, if the whole Congress was Republican, Democrats wouldn't be heard. And that would go against everything the founding fathers wanted for this country. Very good. However, I do think that the Congress needs to worry less about themselves and more about the country they stand for. Amen. They need to learn to work together, not go at each other's throats. There are times when I forget that the Congress is supposed to work together because everyone is always fighting, and your sentiment is echoed throughout the country. The Congress has the lowest approval rating of any of the branches. I think everyone, I don't want to say everyone, but I haven't met someone in the last 10 years that believe Congress is like doing the right thing. So something needs to change. And you're right, they are at each other's throats, and it's really hurting. It's really hurting America, especially during this time. Just if you want to look into that further, just go type in the words "blue state bailout" into Google and see what comes up. Okay, I don't want to get too much into it though. Okay, good. So now we have like the basic understanding of this. So what we can do is I want to show you the lesson for today really quick and just show you how to use the website. So this website I think is very cool. And like I said in the description, what's cool for me, because I'm a social studies teacher, may be not too cool for you, but you know. And basically this homework assignment, whatever you want to call it, remote learning, virtual learning, is designed to help you understand this website. And I wanted to focus on this section 14, HR 6201, Families First Coronavirus Response Act. So I wanted to now take what I taught you in section 13, and I wanted to apply it to something that is happening in the world today, which is well, there seems to be only one thing happening in the world today, so that's coronavirus. And the Congress is playing a big role in well, I don't want to say fixing it, but playing a big role in passing the laws necessary to help people and keep people from really suffering and well, we'll see. So here's the first question: who is the sponsor law? So if you go to the website, let me show you really quick, and I'll leave you alone. Here's the website, Congress.Gov. Really, I mean, it's well set up. I like it. Okay, and you see here's all the information you need. So the sponsor, there we go. And look, the sponsor of this act, and by the way, act and law are very similar. Act is a law. Law is an act. There's a very small distinction, but the congresswoman who sponsored this law, meaning it would introduce this law to Congress, to the House of Representatives, is Nita Lowey from New York, and I guess District 17. I got to look up where that is, and she's a Democrat. So you notice it has a ton of information here, and on the assignment, you'll see Summary tab, okay, Actions tab, and then Related Bills tab. Now, if you think, oh man, this looks like a lot of work, these questions are like, on what date was HR 6201 introduced to the House? So you go to Actions tab, and you just look at the information. I really want to teach you just how to use the website, and this so you can see. So on 3/11/2020, it was introduced in the House. So that's the answer to that. And you'll notice the next couple of questions as you here. Actions, Summary tab, okay. The summary question asks you what is the what does HR 6201 actually do? And if you're watching this video, if you just take this sentence right here and copy it into here and paste it. Okay. No. Copy, paste it. You'll get the right answer. Why is Section B, Title 1 of HR 6201 important? You have to scroll down a little bit to Section B, Division B. Okay. Division B, Nutritional Waivers, Title 1, Maintaining Essential Access to Lunch for Students Act. So this is a separate act within the main act. Okay. So sometimes that happens, and then you can just talk about that here. Okay. Almost done. Actions. All the information you need is right here. Okay. Yeah, actions. And then the last thing is related bills tab. So you're going to go to related bills tab. It says pick one of the related bills under the related bills tab. Please write down the official name of the bill or act, the sponsor of the bill, the latest action, and a brief summary of the bill. So you scroll down here and you'll see the tab, see related bills. Now there's 20 related bills to the Coronavirus Response Act. So these are all related acts and bills and I guess laws that are related to COVID-19. So you can pick one, whatever you want to pick. You click on this, the hyperlink, and it will bring you to the same type of deal, right? Where it says summary, here's the summary of it, here's the sponsor, latest actions to help you answer that question. This homework should be pretty easy. I know if you're just looking at it and going and just looking at it, you're probably like, oh my God, what is all this? What is all this? What is all this? If you use the website, everything is right there. I just want to teach you how to use the website so that we can start going into the next bill or the next bill. So that might be passed in the future for the coronavirus stimulus and relief, including a very important bill that will fund or not fund individual state governments, which will decide and determine what our school year looks like next year. So this is all like important things that are actually affecting us right now. And so it's good for you. It's actually so important for you to understand this stuff. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I like teaching things that you can apply to real life and that are useful. So this is useful, and maybe your parents can help you, or you can help your parents, which I always like to. So, guys, it's been a blast as always. I'll see you next week. I hope all is well. The weather is starting to get nice. Like I said, I will see you on the bicycle. I will see you around town. I will have my mask on. I will wave to you. Okay, just don't come up and hug me or try and shake my hand. Okay, thank you. Miss you guys. Bye.